Hello, I'm Ariana. If you're new here, if you're not, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're getting into this wedding season eyeshadow look. So you're gonna look like you got your makeup done, but you're gonna tell them that you did it yourself. So this is the look that we're going for. It's kind of a half cut crease, a shimmery moment, very neutral, very minimal, monochromatic, all of those words. As always, you can use any color combination you like, any color palette you'd like. I did go for neutrals because I feel like this goes with a lot of formal wear, and this is very easy to do. So it's easy to show you how to do this with browns. So this is the palette that I went in with. This is the Tarte Sunrise palette. Like I said, it's just a bunch of browns, neutrals, natural colors. I only went in with I went in with a good amount of shades, but I'm going to show you exactly what I did. So the first thing that I did was go in with the darkest brown shade on the outer corner. So the key to like formal looking makeup, to make it look like you got your makeup done, well, the eyeshadow part of your makeup, is to be very detailed and precise and work in very small spaces. So I am placing all of the darkest shade on the outer corner, and I'm trying to be very meticulous with this. I'm trying to make sure that there's an even distribution of the eyeshadow so that it's just dark in this one area. And then as soon as I feel like I'm happy with the amount of depth we've created in the outer corner, I'm just gonna kind of go over the outer edges and buff that out just a little bit. So I'm using a really compact, dense brush. I like to use this to pack on a lot of pigment when I am going for something really dark, and I like to flip it over to the side to buff out the edges. And I'm being very detailed and careful with this because I want this dark eyeshadow to stay in a specific place. So that place is going to be the outer corner and all across the lid. So like myself, I just tend to kind of take the eyeshadow on the crease a little bit too far up toward the brow bone, but I do kind of want to keep it concise, but I still want it to do what I want it to do, which is to kind of bring out the crease and create a nice contrast between the crease and the lid that we're going to create later. So basically I just want it to stay in the place that I am placing it at. So I'm doing the same thing on the other side, taking this compact brush and packing on the brown shade toward the outer corner, and I am also bringing it and packing it onto the crease area, creating that nice curved crease shape. And then I'm also kind of winging it out just a little bit, just to create a nice, beautiful, uplifted look, as I always do. Then I'm flipping the brush over to the side. If it is like a flat brush, a horizontal brush, I like to use the side of it to kind of buff out the edges and make sure that it's nice and a little bit blended, just to make it easier to blend in the next shade. Next, I am, like I said, doing the same exact thing that I was just explaining to you. I did clean off the brush just a little bit so we're not kind of moving that eyeshadow shade around too much. So I'm really lightly, with like the lightest amount of pressure, just going over that edge. I'm not going into the deepest part of this shade, but I'm literally just kind of trying to get rid of that line that I created when I was packing on the eyeshadow. So really lightly with the lightest amount of pressure, just kind of buffing that away, making the harsh line disappear to make it easier for me to blend in the next shade that we're going to go ahead and use. So like I said, I'm trying to keep the eyeshadow in the same place that I put it. So when I am blending it out, I don't want to take it too far up, because when you do blend it out, it tends to get a little bit bigger in shape and the eyeshadow tends to kind of travel when you blend it out. So I'm trying to make sure that it stays as close to the crease as possible. So I then went in with a lighter kind of transition shade from the same palette, and I'm packing it on, blending it into that dark brown shade with a kind of fluffy blending brush. So this brush is fluffier, but it is dome shaped and it still is a little bit flat as well. These are the brushes that I like to work with, but I'm just basically kind of blending that into that dark brown shade and up to the brow bone. So after I have the shade all blended out, this is what it should look like. It should just give your eyeshadow just a much nicer, cleaner blend, rather than if you just left the brown shade just blended out like that. It just gives more of a depth effect to the shading that we're trying to achieve here with this look. So I did the same exact thing on the other side, just blending in the transition shade into that dark brown shade. And also, if you do kind of want to make your eyeshadow look a little bit more winged out, you can do that with a transition shade instead of the dark brown shade, because it's just going to make it look more natural and gradually winged out, which is basically just going to elongate and uplift your eyes. So next I went in with the half cut crease. So I'm taking a concealer. I usually use really light concealers to cut my creases and to do any eyeshadow work with, because if you the lighter the concealer you use, the more the eyeshadow you use will pop. So I just went ahead and cut my crease, followed my crease line, and then I stopped it 3/4 of the way. The way that I like to do half cut creases is I like to take it 3/4 of the way, and I kind of like to leave a little line there at the end and just kind of have it diagonally mesh and blend into the outer corner. That's the way that I like to do it. I know some people like to do half cut creases and stop it right in the middle, but I kind of like to create this diagonal looking winged out type of shape. So this is how I like to do it. I think it's really beautiful, and on the right eye shapes it looks really nice as well. So after I have laid down all of the concealer, I'm taking this kabuki brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just kind of going over that concealer, just making sure that it's nice and even for the eyeshadow that I'm about to lay on top of it. So if you skip that part, your eyeshadow might come out a little bit patchy if you do go in with straight eyeshadow right after you just kind of lay down the concealer. So I definitely recommend blending it out before you do go in to set it with the eyeshadow. So I am using a shade that's literally the same color as this concealer, so you can't really see it, but I am alternating between this concealer brush that I use to pack on the eyeshadow, just to kind of make sure that I'm not kind of messing up the shape that I created with the concealer, and then I went back in with that fluffy blending brush to just get a bigger area, like just more surface area down when I am packing on the lid shade. Okay, next we are going in with that same transition shade that I used, and I'm putting this kind of in a diagonal shape, a diagonal direction, right next to that diagonal cut crease area that I created. I like to kind of create a gradient when I do create cut creases that do kind of taper off into a darker outer corner, just because I feel like it looks more interesting and more flowy, if you know what I mean. So after I put that on, I went in with a shimmer shade in between that transition shade and the dark brown shade. So we are basically creating a gradient that's going from light to dark with a kind of pop of shimmer, which is still in the same kind of color family and the same like gradient flow, if you know what I mean. So I'm literally just packing on the shimmer in the negative space that I just like didn't pop on any eyeshadow in, and this is what it should look like. And if you blend in shimmer shades with matte shades, it's actually super easy to do. You just kind of want to make sure that you're dissipating the shimmer shades, just releasing the pressure as you get more into that matte shade, so that the shimmer just kind of dies out and tapers off. All right, and the last thing that I did was I took a really sharp angle brush and I took that dark brown shade and I kind of just lined my lids with it. I dragged it in from the outer corner and just really thinly lined my lash line, because I like a nice brown eyeliner, because it's just a beautiful soft way to add definition to your eyes. So that's totally optional, but I did want to kind of have like some liner on my eyes without kind of going in with, like, you know, the classic black wing. So the last thing that I always do is I'm cleaning up my eyeshadow with some concealer. I'm just basically following my lower lash line, taking it up to the temples, and then just blending it out. When you do this, make sure you're using a concealer that matches whatever's going on under your eyes. And then just make sure that you blend it out nice and good. And this is just going to really elongate, uplift your eyes, all of these words and adjectives that I've been using throughout this whole video, but that's literally the look that we're going for. And it's just also going to make your eyeshadow look much more symmetrical if you do kind of like mess it up a little bit. So this is what the look looks like without falsies. I showed you what it looks like with a bare lash line, and this is me with a smoked out lash line with liner in my waterline just to add a little bit more definition, and then I also went ahead and added lashes. So this is the final look in its final form with the lashes and the smoked out lower lash line to add definition. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like this is a beautiful, versatile look for a wedding season, prom season, all of the formal events that you are going to go to. Do not go get your makeup done because you can do it yourself. I'm just kidding, do what you want. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave and like this video. It really does help me out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.